Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you know, we give you sports information from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll start off directly talking about two major things. We're going to focus more on the cricket side, and then we'll focus more on the NBA side, because pretty much happening is mostly in the cricket side, which is Pakistan versus England. And not only that, we'll talk about the NBA finals that are also underway. But anyways, the first thing we're going to talk about is the T20 matches. Obviously, as we know, that Pakistan has actually lost 3 matches against England. In England, obviously, that was a major disaster for us. We have been, all disappointed. But then they thought of making a comeback. And the comeback was a super comeback in terms of performing in the T20s. But that was the first T20 in which Pakistan managed to win. And they probably managed to win it substantially in a very solid state, in which we could always tell that, the team is pretty much out there and they can perform super well. However, the problem lies, there was a second T20. They did not and they could not manage to fight against England in a way they're supposed to. But anyways, to discuss the in-depth analysis of the unpredictability of Pakistan, we have with us Ali Mehdi, who's an expert in cricket. Ali, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Alamdar.
Great. So Ali, what exactly is happening in terms of the performance side of Pakistan? When we look at the T20, the first T20, what a phenomena. Second T20, not a phenomena. So what do you think are we lacking in terms of the performance side? And I think we need to come up with or devise a solution, because when the first T20 was happening, we probably thought that, Pakistan is not in the best of form. But then they showed themselves that, scoring over 200 and, retaining that and amazing performance. But what truly is wrong in terms of our team performance and the unpredictability as a whole?
Well, Alamdar, this is the true nature of Pakistan cricket. Should it be 50 over Test cricket and T20? Pakistan is extremely unpredictable. They always have been, but more recently so. After the 50 over series 3-zip, you thought that Pakistan would actually do very well in this. They would do fairly better in this suit. And they actually got off to a great start in the first match after winning it by about 30 odd runs. I thought it was a superb performance. Everything went on to plan. But the problem is that when things don't go to script, that's when Pakistan actually suffers. In the first match, if you think about it, Pakistan actually batted first. They batted extremely well. The top order did very well. And then after that, Pakistan put on a very imposing total of 230. Right. After that, that 230, Pakistan's armor in the form of their bowling armor actually did very well to restrict England to just about 200. They did very well. But the thing is that in the second T20, if you look, Pakistan got off to a positive start by winning the first match. The second match, the problem was that I think Pakistan strategically got it completely wrong. First of all, Pakistan won the toss. They should have continued suit. They should have batted first. Reason being, this it's Headingley. I've been to the pitch itself, the ground itself. It's a spinning wicket. It used to be traditionally fast, but it was spinning. And then, when you're playing on a spinning surface, you should need to bat first, because then the ball, tends to skid and then it slows down. That's exactly what happened. Pakistan actually invited England to bat. They put 200, and then after that, Pakistan couldn't deal with England spinners. So I think Pakistan got it wrong in terms of the toss. And then most importantly, Pakistan didn't play. They should have played the extra spinner, knowing that there's much more spin in this wicket, giving Usman Khader an opportunity.
Right. But, yet again, we need to formulate a formula, not only about the pitch, because, even when we look at the ODIs, the first 2 ODIs were majorly the ODIs that, I would never want to see again, specifically when it comes to our performance. Maybe the third ODI was surely nail-biting. At least we were trying. We could see the effort. Then came, after England managed to win the 3-0 ODI, and then their main key players came back and started off with the T20. And then Pakistan, fired up, charged up. Everybody's like, wow, what a performance. But then came the second T20. The point is, how can we bring the team to a consistent teamwork, consistent performance, whether it's batting or bowling or even fielding. If you remember the fielding in the first T20 and then the fielding in the second T20, there's a big difference in terms of their body language and performances.
The thing with Pakistan is, Pakistan is a team which plays on momentum. If things go according to script, if they're batting well, then automatically they'll bowl better and they'll field better. The fielding, it comes down to nerves. It comes back to their skill set. Pakistan's skill set when it comes to fielding is very poor. But if they actually bat well and they bowl better, that actually enhances Pakistan's chances of fielding. You see, in the first match, they took some brilliant catches. You look at Shaheen Shah Afridi took an amazing cotton bowl catch. Haris Roque took a very catch in the deep too. There are 2 very good catches. So, naturally things are going well for Pakistan. They do very well in the field. But the problem over here is when things don't go for Pakistan, that's when our fielding, we tend to have, butterfingers, tend to drop a lot of catches. And that's where in T20 cricket, people talk about batting and bowling.
Right.
Batting and bowling. But the problem over here is that if your batting and bowling is not strong,
Right.
then obviously your fielding is going to suffer. So Pakistan needs to really up the ante when it comes to their fielding too. If you want to win championships, if you want to win the T20 World Cup later this year, you have to improve your fielding. And until that doesn't get right, then it's going to be very difficult for Pakistan.
Well, there's a slight bit of my question on your take, because you just said that when we bat well, we eventually tend to field well and bowl well. But that did not really happen if you look back into the third ODI. I mean, like, we scored over 300 in those 50 overs, and a phenomenal batting lineup and phenomenal performance. But then we crashed in the bowling and the fielding.
Pakistan batted very well in that third ODI, actually putting a very decent total. But they just couldn't field that day. I mean, England weren't strong. At times you have to just give it to the opposition. I mean, England were fielding their B team, but they played extremely well. Look, Alamdar, you have to play attacking cricket. Should it be ODI and T20 cricket? These are the two forms, including Test cricket. You have to play attacking. England played very attacking cricket. They attacked Pakistan bowlers. Pakistan bowlers had no chance, and in the process actually fielded very badly. It's about how you approach the game. If you go with a defensive approach, then there are more chances that you're going to lose the match. You're going to make mistakes. But whereas you play attacking cricket, you have a better chance. Had Pakistan attacked, they made 330. Had they attacked and gotten wickets early, it would have made it very difficult for England. That's what we did in the first T20 too. Second T20, we were a bit defensive. So until Pakistan doesn't come out of its shell, we are going to continue to have these problems. Should it be 50 over 2020 cricket?
Right. And let's talk a bit more about, because we surely have these issues, but let's talk about a few creative sides on, when it comes to the England side. If we talk about Liam Livingstone to begin with, I think one of the major upgrades in terms of, performance back in their team. And it's not only him, even when we talk about the team that, the main key players were not playing in the ODI. But I think England has right now the perfect blend of team. But not to forget, we still have the power, we still have the capabilities, we still have the authenticity of the amazing batsmen, the fielding and the bowling. We need to ensure how to put them and gel them together, because I sometimes think that there is always a pressure in terms of our teams, and our the body language can actually tell and define everything. And how can we change that will be a super favor for not only us, but obviously us as a nation, because we need to know what exactly can we do to keep that momentum on a regular scale.
Alamdar, very good question. You see, the thing with England over here is they have a very good blend. They have a good blend of experience and inexperience. You look at the ODI series, they were playing inexperienced players, but it shows their depth. They have so much depth when it comes to, they have a B, they have a C, and they have a D team.
And talking about perfect blend, as you just said, I mean, like, their players were obviously not as experienced, not as first-class players, but obviously they played in those fields. They have been super amazing in terms of county. And, obviously they have the home ground edge. We talk about the edge in which obviously we are away. We're not playing at home ground, because we also get that edge when some players come to Pakistan. If you look back into South Africa. But the point is, how can we perfectly make it into, or conclude it into, a situation where we can actually be as solid and consistent, which I once again would want to know, because there definitely would be a formula for that.
You see, the thing is, Alamdar, when it comes to England, they have a very good blend, like you mentioned, with counties and with, county cricket, and then, they have their T20 blast, and all their players have exposure all around the world. With Pakistan, they actually have a good A team. They play the PSL, but they don't have that globe-trotting experience as well as you could say the likes of England. I mean, you've got some new players, in the form of England. Livingston, Gregory is a brilliant new player. Parkinson is a new one over there. These players have been playing all around the world. Then the Currans. These are a lot of players who have a lot of experience when it comes to T20 cricket. That's why I think England have this very good blend. When it comes to Pakistan have some very good players, but you have to blood the youth, but at the same time, you have to give an opportunity to the experienced players. I'll give you a good example over here. Like, right now with Pakistan, they have a good, like I said, they have a very good A team, but BC team, we don't have any options. Our middle order is extremely weak. Now, you see, Azam Khan is a very good player, one for the future, but I just think it's too early to bring him right now. You need experience to win championships. championships. You need the likes of the Shoaib Maliks, the Hafizes. You still are dependent on them. And at the same time, you need to blood in the youth, but give them an opportunity, when they on merit. If the old campaigners are doing very well, give them the opportunity, but just don't force these youngsters to, because on the grandest of stage it becomes very difficult. So I just still think that Pakistan needs to get the blend right to make sure that they can actually compete at the highest level.
Right, and talking about the blend right, from what I see, because if we look into the situation, all the teams that are currently practicing are majorly focusing on maybe the upcoming T20 World Cup. And I think in terms of, because we have to be consistent on our team lineup, our batting lineup, we can't always keep on changing and shuffling and reshuffling, because this is not the time anymore for the team to do that, or maybe get new people on board. I think we need to continue our journey with those consistent players that we have in the past few maybe months or maybe tours. So I think that would probably allow us, because like I said, when Mohammad Rizwan and obviously Babar Azam started this entire journey on the first T20, their body language is superb. And after their body language, the entire team, obviously it's more like an effect that, it's more like a virus effect that, if you get the virus, everybody has it. The point is how. The point is when. Because I think it's about time that we should know that the World Cup is nearby, and I think our team have been practicing and going on tours specifically for that very day and very in tournament. So how do you see that happening now?
You see, when it comes to Pakistan cricket team, they've been playing a lot of their cricket. Look, the World Cup is World T20 is taking place in UAE and Oman. Nobody knows Middle East better than Pakistan. So Pakistan should be very, very well aware of the situation and be used to those conditions. The thing is, Pakistan they need to mentally prepare themselves right now going into that World Cup. But the problem is, you don't see that body language. It's not consistent. It needs to be consistent. You were talking about the likes of Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. They're the only two consistent players for Pakistan. After that, you have this batting order when nobody is performing consistently, when nobody is actually making the runs. You need consistency. You need players to perform at the highest level. When you don't do that, middle order is extremely weak. They're not performing. They're not doing the duty, but the top order does. If they do that, their duty, then Pakistan could be a formidable unit. Other than that, the bowling too also needs to improve. They need to be consistent. If these factors don't work, you can't just depend on your openers. All of these areas, the middle order, the batting order, the top order, and then also the bowling actually needs to perform. So until we don't get these key areas correct, Pakistan's going to continue to struggle.
Well, I hope the struggle makes it to a point of where we can actually perform the way we should. Thank you, Ali Mehdi, for being a part of the show and discussing the in-depth analysis of Pakistan versus England. So yes, that was pretty much the analysis of Pakistan versus England and how ready we are. The 30-20 ODI is underway, and maybe with time we'll probably have a better idea where Pakistan cricket team stands and where does England stand. Anyways, we'll take a quick break. Once we're back from the break, we'll discuss the world of NBA finals. That's also super interesting, so see you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. And before the break, we were discussing the world of cricket, how things will be evolving with regards to Pakistan versus England, because the current T20 ODI, T20 is on the way. We've been having ODIs and we've been having test matches, but the major issue is we still need to be a gelled up team to perform the way we're supposed to. But anyways, there's major happening in terms of the world of NBA. Yes, we're talking about the NBA finals. Remember, the NBA finals started from obviously Suns versus Bucks. The first two games, Bucks managed to lose it against the Suns, but then came their major comeback. So to discuss the in-depth analysis about the Game 5, which obviously Bucks managed to win against the Suns, we have Isabel Gonzalez. Isabel, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about these finals.
Great. Isabel, we start off with Game 5. Bucks 123, Suns 119, and now we're waiting for the Game 6, because the Game 6 will either be the elimination game for Phoenix Suns, or maybe they manage to win and then we wait for another game. So what's your prediction for now? Because I think now the Milwaukee Bucks are supercharged, whether it's Giannis himself or Chris Tucker or Drew Holiday or Middleton. I think all are now in their right form and right state of mind.
Yeah, so actually, according to ESPN stats and info, whenever the series is tied 2-2, the team that wins Game 5 is 72%. There's 72% chance that they're going to win it all. And the Bucks, I mean, they look like it. Let's be honest. I was here after the first game, after game one. And like I told you, a lot of people were a little bit overconfident on the Suns. But the Bucks had all the pieces. And I believe I even told you then that Drew Holiday was going to have to step up and have a big game. Because after game one, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton were not doing really well. But now Giannis does have that help. And that's just incredibly important for Milwaukee. And now it's a real series, of course.
Well, to be very honest, if we talk about Giannis himself, we all remember the injury back a few weeks ago, a few games ago, through which we probably imagined, and all of us out there, because after that kind of injury, the hypertension of the knee, we all thought that, it's very doubtful that he could easily make a comeback because it was really ouch. But the point is now he's back. Even when he came back, he struggled at the very first game. But after that, I think, and he was upset about the whole situation because he could not see the team. We remembered the games, the first two games, when Giannis was so upset and disappointed. But I'm sure he gelled the team so solidly, and all now the players are literally in the right state of mind. So I still think that there's a major possibility in the next game that Bucks will surely be winning this game and the tournament.
And that is very likely because they do have that momentum going. And the Suns are a deep team when it comes to whoever, and the team can step up anytime. Right. But the Bucks have Giannis. He's probably the best player in the series right now. And he also has two other co-stars that kind of help out. When they do help out, it's a very powerful team. He didn't have that in the first two games. And to be honest, it's also in the offense because Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday didn't do so great on the first two games, but then Chris Middleton stepped up in that offense. Drew Holiday was doing some amazing stuff on the defense. And even on I believe it was game 4, Drew Holiday didn't shoot very well. He was 4 for 20, something crazy like that. But he did have some big rebounds towards the end. So whenever you do have those guys step up, even when they're not shooting well, you can still win it. And then Drew Holiday stepping up on that last game, even on the offense, that's just huge. And the Bucks right now, they have the momentum. They could win it. But I wouldn't count the Suns out just yet. In my opinion, a Game 7 would be awesome, and I really want that.
Right, and talking about, obviously, Giannis, Middleton, all they did, their combined point were 88 points, and Milwaukee outscored Phoenix 79-53 in the second and the third quarter. So now we also see in terms of their performance, if you look into or divide it into quarters, the Phoenix Suns were 31 in the first quarter, and Bucks were 21. 37-21 is a big difference. And then Milwaukee Bucks were 43, and Suns were 24. So I think now the journey is that, for them to make a comeback, because when I was watching this game after the first quarter, I kind of felt low. I said that, I don't see this happening, and I think I'll just wait and pray that, things shape up. But after the second quarter, automatically everything changed for Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, and if you look at the Suns, they are still showing a little bit of that depth because all 5 starters score in double digits. But of course that wasn't enough because 10 points is not the same as 20 points.
Right.
But a lot of it is coming down to Chris Paul, to be honest, because he did have a really great performance after game 1. But those first 2 games, I believe he was averaging something like 27 points per game. And then the last 2, he's been averaging about 16 or so. And obviously that is a big difference. And it's the finals. You're going to have Chris Paul perform like a superstar. No matter what his age, no matter, really nothing. Nothing else matters. He just has to bring it. Because Devin Booker, he probably can't do it alone. Especially, again, with the Bucks having not just Giannis, but Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. But if Chris Paul bounces back, this could be, a more interesting series. So we'll see. It's really going to be up to him to see how this goes.
Well, you also said that, there's a probability of 72% for that team that actually wins the 4th game. And, after the series is tied, and then, one team wins, and obviously it's the 5th game, they won. Now they have a 72% edge. We talk about the edge. The biggest edge that they have right now is going to be super interesting. Why? Because of the fact that it's happening in Milwaukee itself. So I think having that home ground edge for the Bucks, I think all in terms of the trajectory is heading to where we all see it. And if it happens and if they manage to win that game, I think it's going to be history in the making since 1971.
for sure, and that's a great point. They are going to be in Milwaukee, so the Bucks winning on the road, that was obviously something that we're going to need. I believe this game, Game 5, was going to be important because of that momentum. It was going to really show who was going to step up at the biggest moment. Because although it wasn't like a must-win situation, because there would still be other games, I think it was going to be pivotal when it came to that. Like, who really wants it? Who's going to step up in each team? And yeah, like the Bucks right now have an amazing advantage, and they just got to keep it going. They can't get overconfident because the Suns have shown that, they can do it. They've done it all season in the playoffs. They've just stepped up a bunch of guys. Like, anyone can surprise you anytime. But yeah, right now, Milwaukee is the favorite. Let's be honest here.
Right. And the most interesting thing is when I look to the divisioning of the last match, 123 to 119, we talk about Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, the only quarter that they were leading in against Bucks was the first quarter and the last quarter. The point is, but in between, when how things shape up, I think Milwaukee Bucks didn't just give up. Sometimes teams get frustrated and really tired. So how do you see Suns making a comeback? Because in terms of the second and third quarter, you saw Bucks trying to get it to the defensive side but unable to do so, in fact losing and not being able to score as well. So they have to put a blend of their offensive and defensive game together against the Bucks.
Yeah, during this game, during the first half, Jrue Holiday just had an amazing 2 first quarters, to be honest. So a lot of it, people are saying that this was all Chris Paul. If he doesn't perform well, that just means, Suns are not going to win, which is true. But at the same time, I think a lot of credit should be given to the Milwaukee Bucks and the stars that perform well there. And this game was all about Chris Paul maybe not being able to defend Jrue Holiday as well. And Jrue Holiday also made some really tough shots. So it didn't just come down, it wasn't like Chris Paul losing, but for me, it was more Jrue Holiday winning this. So for the Suns to be able to win the next game, Jrue Holiday's going to have to be defended a little bit better. Chris Paul's going to have to play better. And Devin Booker's going to have to keep consistent. I don't know how many 40-point games he can do in a row, but another one would be helpful too.
Well, in terms of the whole interesting situation now where things are, what's your, in terms of prediction, let's take a prediction from you and see how do you see things, because I know that would be tricky, but I would still want to have an idea on how you see developing further. So what's your prediction in terms of this upcoming game in Milwaukee? That's probably the edge, and we talk about the 72% edge of obviously winning the previous game. So how do you see now development, and what exactly are the percentage or the odds of Bucks versus the Suns?
Well, like I said, I would love to see a Game 7, and I do feel like the Suns can step up and win this one if, Chris Paul gets it together and just has an amazing game. But I think Milwaukee's going to win it, just because they are at home and they do have that momentum going. The stats are there, and really just looking how Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday have bounced back, how they've just been responding to, not doing so at the beginning. Milwaukee has it going on right now, and I don't see why that momentum would stop, especially when they're going to play at home. So, yep, my prediction is Milwaukee gets it, and yep, history in the making.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Isabel, for being a part of the show and discussing the world of NBA. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So that was obviously the analysis of the world of NBA and talking about the NBA Finals. We're so looking forward for the real game, the real deal, Milwaukee Bucks versus the Suns. And let's see who actually manages to take out, the championship. It's either going to be the elimination round for the Suns and Milwaukee Bucks being the NBA champions into 2021 Finals. But let's see how it develops. Anyways, guys, you guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is @ Indus News Sports. That works both for Twitter and for Instagram. Till then, take good care of yourselves, and bye-bye.